trying to fuck with me, man. And it's like, and it's to the point of where I freak out and I fucking start punching shit and broke my knuckle. Basically, real recognize real, okay? Other people who have seen these, you know what I'm talking about.
All right.
I guess I'm ready, Starfish.
Well, this is a sad story today. And they're all sad, but this one is particularly sad. So this is the story of brothers James and Buckey Wolfe. And one night, Buckey calls 911, and he calls 911 and says to them that he had killed his brother because he thought his brother was a lizard. So there wasn't a lot of information other than that in the original reporting of like what happened. So
like what kind of lizard was he? Was he like a gecko or an iguana? Do we know? Like what kind of lizard that was? Or
so what I did was I did a little sleuthing, and I don't recommend this. In this case, I also want to warn that he's self-proclaimed diagnosed schizophrenic. So there's a bit of an ethics issue where would this have occurred more likely because he was mentally ill or because he believed in this lizard people conspiracy, right?
Right.
So Mary is going to go into the details of the conspiracy, but I want to talk just a little bit about Buckey so that we can get into his head a little bit about where he was at. So he has a YouTube page, and on the YouTube page, you can see how it kind of starts, and it's over the course of a year, and it's the year before he kills his brother. It's like a movie watching his YouTube videos. You see how initially he starts recording because he says he's being targeted. So he's a targeted individual. So let me play a little bit of that clip there. He swears a lot, so.
Okay, I'm gonna start making video logs about targeted individuals. And me being a targeted individual, I know it sounds fucking weird, but I used to think that whole shit was hocus pocus. And it started happening to me. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. It freaked me out. It's like, really? And I know what life was before this started happening, so I know that something is up. Something is fucking, it's everybody's trying to fuck with me, man. And it's like, and it's to the point of where I freak out and I fucking start punching shit and broke my knuckle.
Okay, so that's him. The night it sort of starts is he starts recording himself talking about these things, and he's talking about how it takes him 20 minutes to explain that he is being targeted. He's a targeted individual. There's people stalking him.
Okay.
They come after him, and he gives examples like he has these fears of doctors, blue gloves, and then all of a sudden he just starts seeing them everywhere. He goes on a trip with his brother James to another state to see he's actually adopted, and he goes down to see his bio family for the first time. And after that, these weird hallucinations start where he feels like he's being targeted. He sees people with blue gloves. Why would you be wearing blue gloves? There was another one where he saw a person walking their dog at 3 a.m. Why would you be walking your dog at 3 a.m. and looking at me through the window while you're doing that? I mean, just really kind of like, okay, I mean, those don't seem weird to me, but
So did he know, was he diagnosed with schizophrenic at this point?
Yeah, so he doesn't indicate exactly when he was diagnosed with it, but there's lots of videos, and in another one he's talking about how he finally lays it out. He says, there's lizard people everywhere, and don't tell a psychologist this or a psychiatrist because they'll tell you you're schizophrenic, and that's part of their plan. And we're all just a bunch of peons, or they're a bunch of peons, and their goal is to sort of torture you. He said, it depends on the state you're in. They have different plans as to how to torture you.
Like state, like mental state, or like the state of California, or
Yes, this happened up
okay.
in Washington, so Seattle, the state of Washington, and then he was in Arizona to meet his family, and he said they were different there. The lizard people were different in Arizona.
Man, I wonder what they do in Alabama then. I mean,
I would not want to see the Alabama ones. I don't think I'd want to see a lot of them. Texas would be another one,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
He explains the lizard people. He explains that they're blue. He has very specific,
Oh, they're
um,
blue. Okay,
yes.
blue
So he says,
lizards.
I saw my first blue alien.
Encounter. All right, here's what happened. I was walking home last night, and I was had just gotten off the bus, and I was walking past this person. Basically, real recognize real. Okay, other people who have seen these, you know what I'm talking about. When you walk by him, I had explained seeing the black eyes and the sharp teeth ones. Know this, there is way more than just one alien, or one type of alien. Like, that's a common Hollywood,
I can't.
that's been brainwashed into your head. There's another race out there, like, and they're gonna come down in this big miraculous showdown and fucking and annihilate us or whatever. And no, they take our form and they walk among us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little, interesting there. Sounds like someone who watches a lot of sci-fi, but
Yeah, he mentions that he's listened to Alex Jones a lot. He mentions lots of YouTube videos that he watches, and so of course this leads to these bigger conspiracies. But before we get into that, his journey is really sad. So he keeps getting progressively paranoid that he's seeing these things, that they're hurting him. At some point along the line, he finds the QAnon people, and
oh no.
he says, help is here. There's Q, and he's here to get rid of all these. And Trump, they're here to get rid of all these cabal people because the storm is coming. And as we know, as of this recording, the storm never came. I don't think.
No. No, it didn't even rain or anything, so I don't know.
I know it hasn't even snowed much this year, like here. Maybe in other places, but yeah. So he finds Q because the other Q people have similar language. They say things like they're targeted as well, and they just feel like something's off in the world, and they share this understanding of each other in these groups where they can kind of discuss this feeling of being targeted. And of course, when you have schizophrenia, um, you know, very slim knowledge I have on it. There's paranoid schizophrenics, right? In which
Right.
you hear things, and he talks in some of the videos about hearing things like things up against the wall, and he'll notice things are moved in his room, and there's nobody in there. So he's like, if I wake up and I see you, I'm going to kill you. So he's really got that paranoia and that fear, which I think is what made a lot of the Q people come together, is because they don't understand what's going on. So then it must be these lizard people. So the sad part of the story is that in one of his last posts, which I'll play for you, it's only a few minutes and it's very disturbing. He actually believes that well, I'll just let you listen to it.
This pillowcase was clean. No stains, That is my blood. Spattered. Everywhere. They beat me to death. And here I am. This is my blood. And it is everywhere. 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 And the angels cleaned it up.
Angels.
The angels didn't want me to wake up in a puddle of blood. I thank him for that. That would have been really unpleasant. And there's some more of my blood. Parts they missed. They didn't clean up. I died. At first I couldn't wrap my brain around the gravity of what had just happened. I died. And here I am, untouched. I am living proof of these lizards' doom. I am living proof of God. Unscathed. Nothing. Those lizards beat me to death.
That video, disturbing, was on December 29th of 2018. And his older brother, James, came home. He was on tour in Germany. He's in the military.
Okay.
And, I mean, he details a lot of this in his videos. He's very envious or jealous, he says, of his brother because he has a wife and kids. So when he comes home to visit the family, because Buckey lives with his parents in their backyard in this pool house back there, and when James comes home to visit Buckey, there's no explanation for it. He just thinks he's a lizard man and kills him with one of those very long 3-foot long swords right through the head.
Wow. That's crazy.
So he was saying things like, kill me, I can't live in this reality. God told me he was a lizard. So that's why I killed him, is because God told me he was a lizard. He is in an institution because they said,
Right.
well, obviously you have, and there's documents that show he had some paranoia and schizophrenia. So I'm glad
Right.
he's there, but this probably perpetuated this feeling. I mean, everybody in that place has got to continue to be a lizard. I don't know if he's on medication, but this theory was really peddled by leadership in this country again. And
Right.
these are the kinds of things that happen because he talks a lot about Trump and how Trump really was their savior, and he was there to end this lizard cabal. And
Right.
I'll let you explain what the cabal is now.
Yes. So I did some research on the cabal because, I love talking about the lizard people. So this was from the 1990s, actually. If people are probably familiar with David Icke, if you're into conspiracy theories, he's like the mecca. He's kind of like a Joel Osteen of conspiracy theories.
The original Alex Jones.
Yeah, he's like, right, he holds like all these conferences, well, probably not right now due to COVID, but where he talks about all these conspiracy theories. So back in 1990, he was a spokesman for the Green Party. And he visited a psychic who informed him that he'd been placed on Earth for a very special purpose, and that Ike would begin to receive messages from the spirit world. So these led him to announce that the following year that he's the son of Godhead. I'm not really sure what that is. And that the world would soon be devastated by tidal waves and earthquakes. So yeah, apparently this psychic put all this stuff in Ike's head, that he's like this, special person here to a purpose to help humanity, talk about world-ending stuff. I don't know, just really crazy stuff. So how the cabal comes into play is that, let's see, it says here, he believes that the universe is made up of vibrational energy and consists of an infinite number of dimensions that share the same place, or same space, sorry. He claims that archons or Anunnaki have hijacked the earth, and I believe that's where the term cabal comes from. So that's what these are. And that a genetically modified human, Akron hybrid race of shape-shifting reptilians known as the Babylon. Oh yeah, the Babylon Brotherhood, the Illuminati, or the elite manipulate the global claims that many prominent figures belong to the Babylonian Brotherhood and are propelling humanity to do things, bad things. So Ike believes that the only way this archonic influence can be defeated is if people wake up. He thinks that they're propelling humanity toward an Orwellian global fascist state, or a new world order, is what I've heard of, people talk about too, like a post-truth era where freedom of speech is ended.
Oh wow.
So,
well, that's kind of what's going on right now with Parler.
Right. So apparently that's where the cabal come from, is this, and then people have taken pieces from that, as they do, in my opinion, on everything, including religion, and make it into their own little thing. And so that's why we get into then the QAnon.
The QAnon thing was this person that they call Q, and Q was posting things on this 8chan or 4chan or both, posting things that are called Q drops,
right?
That are like little clues as to what's going on with Trump and how he was gonna defeat the cabal. All of these people would be arrested. All of these evil people would be arrested finally, because they're basically trafficking children and drinking their blood. And there's roots in these things that are, all of these conspiracies just like coalesce, and they make these connections, and there's these charts of the conspiracies where they all have thousands of lines drawn between them, because if there's even one connection, suddenly that's, a thing. So
yeah, and it feels like they've like just taken this crap and run with it, and just like made all these weird side stories for whatever their purpose that they're, whatever they're trying to spout off to people. It's just kind of weird. It just goes in all different, like, insane directions.
it really does. And that's why I'm not always as interested in the conspiracy, because they all kind of have a different interpretation of what the purpose is. I mean, the Q thing really made a lot of their language sound the same. The storm is coming, and Trump was leaving these little clues and stuff. But for a lot of them, it's just more about not understanding how institutions work and not trusting institutions like the government, and then automatically assuming that it's some evil thing,
Right?
cabal, because it's
Yeah.
got to be. Because what else could it be? These people are trying to stay in power so much because they want to keep their child sex trafficking ring. The whole Epstein thing didn't help that either. So,
Right.
Okay, you guys, QAnon. If you guys are a believer, if you aren't, I don't give a fuck. Our president just gave the most damning Q proof ever. Basically, 4chan and 8chan, the name of the board that Q posts on is called The Calm Before the Storm. And it's called that because that's a reoccurring theme within the Q community. Q often posts about that. The calm before the storm says it. And then this happens.
In the White House State Dining Room, this is the image President Trump summoned reporters to see. The president smiling, surrounded by his top military leaders and their spouses. Then came the unsolicited, cryptic comment.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm, Mr.
We have the
President?
world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
And today in the Oval Office, we tried again.
Mr. President, what did you mean by calm before the storm yesterday? What did you mean by that?
Thank you very much.
After a wink and a pause,
You'll find out.
Booyah, bitch! It's coming and it's gonna be good. Y'alls are gonna get your just dues.
This is just, I mean, I just keep thinking of that mom, and how you see your child devolving and listening to these people and feeling comfort in them. And so you don't really want to, what can you say? I mean, we all have people in our life who believe in these conspiracies. A lot of people believe in even the smallest ones, like, the moon landing and stuff. But
for sure.
this guy, you could tell that he was in a really, really bad place. And maybe that's why his brother came. I don't know. But I feel like these people like David Icke and Trump pushing these things is really, they're making money off of people's fears, is what it feels like to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's almost like a cult type of thing, I mean, and this poor guy, Buckey, I mean, he was also part of the Proud Boys. He was a member of them. Like, he got sucked into that. So that just is really sad to me, how these poor people get sucked into all this crap. And then, you have people like him that are mentally ill anyway. And then you go running with all these crazy stories. Of course, that's going to really affect them more than a normal person.
That's literally how human trafficking works. They would prey on people who were alone and who were homeless. And he said he'd been homeless before in a lot of the videos. They prey on those people because they know they can kidnap them basically, and nobody's going to care.
Oh,
so
sad.
Human traffickers actually do that. And it's funny that, not funny, it's sad that they think it's some cabal when it's really just ordinary people who are terrible people kidnapping vulnerable people such as himself.
Yeah, it's like we can't believe that people would actually do such a thing, so we make up that they're some sort of alien or some crap. It's just sad.
So that's the story of Buckey and James Wolfe. I know we'll come back to Q. I know we'll come back to the Illuminati and the cabal and the lizard people because it's a theme in a lot of them. And these people are sadly believing in this stuff and acting out on it. And, Q was a big thing in the storming of the Capitol. And that was really them believing that Q was correct in all of his predictions. And so therefore we'll be protected in storming the Capitol. And yet they're not, they're not protected.
Yeah, not at all. Most of them are now in jail. So
right. So, all right. Well, another good episode. Okay.
I know. I can't wait to talk more about Q.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to Real Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. We look forward to having you on our next one.